Hi there and welcome to Lorena's Labyrinth. My name's Anna Pirelli. The comments that you see here are my views, beliefs, opinions, and sometimes they are not even my fully formed views, beliefs, and opinions. However, they are my understandings. Please do retain an open mind and reflect on any of the content and your comfort levels. If your views differ, please feel free to leave a comment. Also remember, it is possible to disagree in respectful ways. My way is not necessarily your way and vice versa. You might also find that some of the content on this playlist in regard to spiritual or universal laws, it resonates with you, meaning it feels right to you, while other laws may not feel right or they may not feel comfortable. If this is the case, the information is either not right for you or it is not right for you right now, and it might never be right for you at any given time. It really doesn't matter. As an earthy and practical person, I can put my hand up with all honesty and say that I have at different times had the same feelings about some of the content in here. And with some of them, I still have a level of skepticism within my viewpoints, but I choose to retain an open mind about the things that I don't fully understand for a few reasons. Firstly, because I believe it would be supreme arrogance to think that we all know all of the answers while we have a body. And because what is right for one of us is not necessarily right or suitable for all of us, and I choose to respect the differences. Please do leave your opinions, beliefs. Feel free to argue the points in a respectful way with any of the content on the slides and even my interpretations. And if you feel that you can add clarity around some of the content, we would all love to see it. Thank you. For now, though, let's explore the laws.
All creation is governed by law. The principles that operate in the outer universe, discoverable by scientists, are called natural laws. But there are subtler laws that rule the hidden spiritual planes and the inner realm of consciousness. Contained within these laws, or conditions, is the true nature of matter. Knowledge of these laws has an effect upon the mental urges. Mind is the builder. Stay in full mindfulness of the application of universal law as related to self and to others, and know that in love all life is given, in love all things move. In giving one attains, in giving one acquires, in giving, love becomes the fulfillment of desire, guided and directed in the ways that bring the more perfect knowledge of self as related to the universal, all-powerful, all-guiding, all divine influence in life. Love is life. When we go back, merge with the God source, in some infinitesimal but profound way, we expand the mind of God. Our higher self always points the best and most perfect way, and it is ours to listen and choose or reject what we hear. It does not blame, but patiently tries again to show the perfect way, the loving way. All of creation pushes forth. We are ever becoming. Identity ever remains. Universal law number 14. The law of continuity of consciousness. This law relates to the universe, which is in a continuous and endless process of creation. Cosmic consciousness is a reality, and everything in creation is connected to everything else. The medium for the implicate order of this relationship is consciousness. The fusion of individual consciousness and the universal consciousness, the building of the Anahs, results in the development of universal knowledge, of omniscience, all science/all knowledge. Continuity of consciousness is achieved by us after the soul has been acknowledged, awakened, liberated, and identified with the whole. Enlightenment. A step to achieve enlightenment is to be aware of our thoughts, emotions, and actions, the faculty that enables us to be vigilant, observant, or to know.
So in law number 13, we unpacked what consciousness meant, and I would like to think that we've reached a level of understanding. If you haven't watched it, I do recommend that you go and do so, and if there's any comments underneath that, have a read of them as well, just as part of getting your own balanced viewpoint and developing your own, what we call personal truth. So within that, where I'm going is, I see that law number 14, when we talk about continuity of consciousness, is an extension of consciousness, and it becomes an awareness that life is an ongoing cycle. We go into this in the next slides that are coming up, or the next videos, but basically that there is life after the body has transitioned. Better description is after the soul has left the body behind and transitioned back to spirit form, there is an ongoing process of creation that the spirit becomes involved in. And where all souls are in it, interconnected. Now, my personal understanding of this is actually through my own communication with my own guides. I learned that they continue to grow and evolve themselves as spirits. Just because they don't have a body anymore doesn't mean that they're not continuing to learn new things. I'm just wondering if I should share this. I think I will, actually. I think I'll share a story about this. I might hold on to that thought for a moment, but it was an amazing growth experience for myself and an understanding of life on the other side without a body. But anyway, when we talk about the continuity of consciousness, we develop this level of cosmic consciousness, and that becomes part of our reality, which is going to be demonstrated when I talk about the experience that I had. When we look at the definition of the word cosmos, of course, we mean that there's a universe as a well-ordered whole. There is a structure, there is a system of thought, and cosmic refers to an inconceivable vastness. So when we're talking about continuity of consciousness, we're going beyond the limitations of the earth plane in our earthly life, and we're looking at the order and structure on the other side. Now, from my perspective, it's so vast, I wouldn't even begin to attempt to explain everything and think that I know everything, because I just don't think it's humanly possible. But maybe that's my own personal limitations. Then if we unpack the word medium in itself, that has a few different meanings. In the first instance, we talk about the medium, we're talking about the agency of doing something, the ability to create. And then it's got another interpretation of being an intervening substance. This is dictionary stuff, by the way, through which sensory impressions are conveyed, right, or physical forces are transmitted, such as radio communications. Now, within the context of spirit energy or psychics, or what we call spiritual mediums, spiritual communicators, they would probably define themselves as a transmitter of communication, because they're picking up on energy and communicating that across to the person. So yeah, I would suggest that under this law, we're talking about consciousness is the medium, it's the catalyst, the thought, and the communication or the conveying of creative change. I don't know if that's a bit complex. Your thoughts are welcome. Pop a comment up. I think I will quickly tell this story. I'll try and be very, very quick, because this was when I was living in the bush, and I connected with this lady who had come into her gifts, and it had happened so quickly and overnight, where she was able to see spirit, communicate and hear with them. And she'd learned a healing technique, and she was guided to connect with me, which is actually really funny in hindsight, because we'd never actually physically met each other. We were on the phone to each other. And she was saying her guides had told her that she needed to speak to me. I'm not going to say about what particularly, X or Y, but in the process, I received an offer of healing energy and said thank you very much. So this was very much a learning curve for us. And what I had personal connection to my guides, I've got to say, at this point in time, and I knew that my guides were there, but I was still developing my clairvoyance at the time, and she was full blown. So she was able to say to me that throughout the process that she was able to see my guide, who was very actively interested in the healing process that was going on. And she had no understanding, this lady, of what the guides were doing, whereas I did. She didn't even know what a chakra was back in these days. And so obviously this shared learning and development was me explaining, yes, I can feel the energy because I was energy aware. They're working on this chakra and I understand what this is about. Can you get confirmation from your guides? Because she could see them. Yes, they say yes to that. No, they say no, that's not quite right. That's not what they're doing. And this was how it unfolded for us. But what she brought to my attention was when we talk within the relation of this continuity of consciousness, was she said that my guide was so interested and paying very close attention to the process that was unfolding energetically, which was a healing process. And at the end of the day, that was all fine and well and good. And the next afternoon, as was my habit, I went and I started meditating. And while I was meditating, I felt the healing and energy sensation again. Now, I forgot to mention, when I was receiving the healing, her guides, she said they were being brutal, and she actually started squealing. She was like, oh my God, they're being so brutal. They're rotating your leg. She said it's like they're putting their hand in and doing something with the hip socket, right? And I said to her, oh, no, that's okay. I know what they're doing. And I said, no, it's not very painful. I said, but I can feel that they're actually doing what she described. And she said, you know what that's about? And I said, yes, I do. I said, I've been told recently that I have one leg that's marginally shorter than the other, and it does need to be rotated. I'd had a Bowen treatment done, and it does need to be rotated from time to time to make sure that my step doesn't go out, if you like, or that I don't get pain in my hip or back and stuff like that. So I said, no, I'm very much aware of what they're doing and it's not painful. So anyway, going back to it, the next day, I'm lying down on my bed, which is where I used to meditate in the afternoon, and I felt the energy come in. I thought, oh, that's nice. This lady's guides have popped back over and they're giving me another healing. But this time it was brutal and it really did hurt. And it felt like I had a giant knitting needle that was stuck into my hip socket. And after it was finished, I phoned her up and I said, man, your guide's been busy today. I said, but he hurt today, right? And then great big thing unfolded where she was saying, no, my guide's saying he's not been near you. And then it turned out that my guide had said that she had observed all of it and she wanted to give it a go herself. It had actually ignited something in her. It was a new practice that she wanted to do and she wanted to be part of it. So that was when I learned, oh, I'm getting energy talking about this. This was when I learned that spirit and guides and all the rest of it, they are also continually in a process of creation and evolution and determining where they want their spirit path to go. So that's just part of that there. So anyway, going back to the law, that was my little story. There is a reference within the law as we read it to, and I hope my pronunciation is right, Antakarana. Now, I did a Google, of course, God bless Google, to get the dictionary meaning of this. And this is defined as the totality of the mind, including the thinking faculty, the sense of oneness, and the discriminating faculty. So I would interpret that as very simply acknowledging the power of the mind that each individual has when it's combined with good judgment, knowledge, understanding that we're all connected, that this results not only in the expansion of the individual, that's you and me, and our understanding of universal or cosmic knowledge, not just us, but also that when one person raises their vibration and they get more understanding and knowledge, then collectively we all do. And that reminds me of a saying I saw years ago that I think is relevant here. What we do to one, we do to all. When we do good for somebody else, we're doing good for ourselves and we're doing good for everybody, everything, right? When we seek to hurt or cause pain to another person, we will be hurting ourselves and everybody else. So it's raising our, not just our vibration, but our awareness that we are more than ourselves. That's where that concept of we are all one, we're all everything. I don't think I can do justice to this. if you've got a better way of describing it, and I'm sure there will be, please feel free, as I say, put your comments up. So, just to flick down in my notes a little bit, the law outlines as well that the first step of enlightenment is to become aware of our own thoughts, our emotions, and our actions, because they will give us the ability to understand and know through our own observations of life and through our own life experiences. And we are encouraged, of course, to be vigilant in our quest for knowledge and understanding. Now, I personally would change the word knowledge for experiential wisdom, okay, because knowledge is something, we can all read a book. Doesn't mean that we know at a core level what is true or what feels right. It's a personal experience. So let's revisit this word vigilant just for a moment, right? Within the context of this law, I am not personally sure that the word vigilant is a very good descriptive word of what it's trying to convey, because the literal translation of the English word vigilant is to keep a careful watch for possible danger or difficulty. So within the context of this particular law and the paragraph, I suspect what it's encouraging us to do is to pay attention to what we think we know, because it's very easy for us as humans to talk ourselves into believing myths and half truths. So perhaps there's a reference here of being selective about who we place our trust in as teachers and mentors, and to be able to discern truth, what's our truth, what's their truth, what's the whole truth, what's the entire truth, all of this kind of stuff. So it might also mean being vigilant in this context that I'm about to speak to is probably a good one. Be vigilant and catch yourself in mid thought, from the perspective of spirit, that messages can be transmitted, or other people can receive our thoughts, because it's all energy anyway. So what else have I got? Especially when it comes to spirit communication, be vigilant, pay attention. If you're going to buy services from somebody, make sure you get them to validate that they actually can access their gifts appropriately. Because a lot of people say a lot of stuff they think is true. I mean, because I have been teaching people how to do readings, it can be really difficult actually when there are people that think that they're listening to the voice of spirit, but actually what they're doing is transferring and projecting their own fears and limitations over to people. I don't know. So, yeah, just be mindful that what you're listening to is divine guidance as opposed to the chattering thoughts in your head. I don't know. I'm going to leave this with you guys to have a think about, and see what it means to you. And I will read your comments and see where we've gone with this, see what kind of conclusions people have reached. And when I eventually can do lives, I think this might be a really good discussion point. Anyway, until next time, my friends, take care. Have a wonderful day. Blessings to you. Thank you again for being part of my journey. It's good to see people are actually responding to the videos now. I'm very grateful. Take care. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.